Yo, what's up, guys? It's Money Mitch. So today I'm back with more Scout stories. So this might be my second to last one because this year we're going to Minnesota. So I mean that's gonna be fun. So I might make one more video after that explaining like the last bits of Scout stories. But this very well might be the second to last one. So I guess this year it's sort of bittersweet because it's gonna be my last one. But we're going to Minnesota, so pretty fun stuff. So then so last year we went to Colorado and stuff like that, so that's pretty fun. So I'm just gonna explain like stories and go along the timeline of Colorado. So we leave one day, and so we leave a day early because Colorado takes like a whole day to get there from where we are in Nebraska. So then we leave that day, everything goes normal. Then we stop for dinner because it was getting around like 6 by the time we got there. So we stopped at like the nearby town, I think it was called Wellington or something, and we get some pizza. Instead of Pizza Hut or any normal pizza place, we stop at this place called Pizza Palace. And the name is very misleading to say the least. Because it was probably about the size of like this basement. Like this basement's not very big at all. I just film my videos down here so I don't disturb my family with my voice. And anyway, we joked about it should be called Pizza Shed because it was like it was probably the size of a small house. So it was not palace like at all. So there's that. And then when you get to Colorado, we set up, and then there's also this mountain, and it was called Peter's Nose, I think. But and I joke saying like, if this mountain is all of Peter's nose was pretty low down, far from the top of the mountain, around the area where the extremities should be. And I turned to this kid like, "Are you sure that's supposed to be Peter's nose right now?" So he thought that was pretty funny. So then we get up to the campsite, everything goes as normal, and as we're walking, we see this rock that literally looks like a butt. Like I'm not joking. Like I have my phone here because there's a picture from this camp that I want to show you, but the rock literally looks like a butt. Like I'm not joking. And then this kid's like, "Why does the rock look like a booty?" And then I joke saying like, "I'm gonna go hit it so I can say I hit rock bottom." And then later that week, I do go up to it and hit it so I can technically say I've hit rock bottom. So then we get to the campsite, everything goes as normal. We have our one day, and then everything, and then the next day people start showing up. So nothing strange about that. And then when we get back to our campsite, we're met with a cruel surprise. So these people, literally, we were there first, and these people, because it's like the campsite was big enough to hold two troops. So we get there, and then these troops say like, "Oh, we have to be together. We have to keep our troop together," and then they force us to leave. Like, we should be staying. We were there first. So it makes no sense why we're the ones leaving when we were there first. Like, that makes no sense. So, that was pretty outrageous. So this kid, just for context, every day at lunch we have like an equal amount of food. So it's like there's about 6 chairs at each table. So they give us about 6 servings of food. Pretty fair, right? But this kid, for some reason, and for lunch that day, we had chicken tenders. And this kid absolutely loves chicken tenders. So he takes 4. And there were enough chicken tenders so that each of the 6 people at the table could have around 2. No, he takes 4, and some kid was left without food. Then we go and get some more, just so he can have some. And then this kid takes 4 more. Like, he's a bit chubby, so it's not like some like rail thin kid trying to gain weight. So he had a bit of room in his stomach, but still, it doesn't justify him taking 8 chicken tenders. Like, weight should not be a concern when you're divvying out food. So that was outrageous. And then we get the most epic revenge in the most frick you way possible. So the camp made us drink a cup of water before we could get food. So we asked him to go refill the pitcher, and then so I think we actually like got the food and then asked the kid to refill the water pitcher. So then, as he's gone, we take all the food that we want and leave just this tiny bit. And then he's like, "Where's all the food?" And it's like, "There's that little bit left for you." And it was like half a serving of food. So it was pretty mean, I know. But this next thing takes the cake. No pun intended, because we were literally divvying out cake. So what happened is that and then we like did more stuff to like sort of like tick him off. So what we did is that when we got the cake, we took the cake and cut big pieces for us and left him with this little slice. And And then when we were done and he was left with that little slice, then he goes, "Wow, I almost thought no one, not everyone was gonna get a piece." And then he sort of looks at us like really, like sort of like a mean look. So then he saw me laughing, and then he walks up to me and says, "Cards Against Humanity will not be there when you get back." And this kid literally hid it. I mean, I did eventually find it, but still, that was kind of a rude move. And yes, we were being mean too. But that's just what guys do when it's just us. We're just like mean to each other. Like not like mean as in like punching and kicking and bullying and stuff like that. But just like general just being rude to one another. We don't mean it like personally. It's just what we do. So another thing that happened is that this porta potty next to the dining hall, it had not been emptied the entire week, and people were taking craps in it. So this kid, I don't know who did it, and I don't know why they did it, but some dude throws a Mountain Dew can in the porta potty, and then I was walking back to the campsite with one of the people from our troop, and he says, "Hold on, I gotta use the bathroom." So he goes into the porta potty, and then he said he felt the Mountain Dew can against his bottom, so they needed to empty it bad. I think they did eventually empty it, hopefully, but I can't say for certain. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I did bring Cards Against Humanity because I'm sorry, I'm still getting my stories mixed up because this is take two. Because take one was just bad. Like I was just pondering a lot about like what stories to tell, but now I got them all lined up. So I brought Cards Against Humanity, and the average age of people in the troop is 15, I'd say. So interesting experiences are bound to happen. So I get the base card, put it down, and it was "Why am I sticky?" And I don't remember who did it, but someone put down "My weird brother," and then everyone started laughing. Like that was bad. And also another scene from Cards Against Humanity is someone else puts down the base card, and then says, "Just saw this upsetting video. #stop." And this kid literally puts down the Holy Bible. And because of that, I banned him from playing it the entire week. And he kept trying to say, "I would never say that stuff. Please let me play." It's like, no, you put that down. You're disrespecting God, so you're banned from playing it the week. So he wasn't very happy about that, but he just watched our games. He didn't mind if he was playing or not. So then another game that we played was called Mao, and it's basically you can't say any of the rules. You have to learn it as you go along, and if you break a rule, you get a penalty card. So one of the rules is that if you played a red card, then you had to turn to the person next to you and give them like a tap on the shoulder like that. And then I put down a red card, and then I get a penalty card because I obviously broke the rule. And then I didn't know what it was, so then someone else does it, and he was like across from me. So then he puts down the red card, and then literally looks at me going like, and I still didn't get it. So like when the round ended, I was like, "What was that? What was that thing you're doing where you're like?" And he said, "When you put down a red card, you have to tap someone on the shoulder with your fist." And I'm like, "Oh." So there's that. And here's a story from a previous year. So I think it was my second time at camp, and this kid like lost his water bottle up at the scout shop. So he's like, "Where's my water bottle?" And then a few minutes later, he's like, "I think I left my water bottle up at the scout shop." And then he's like, "Please, someone go with me to the scout shop to get my water bottle. Please, please." And then no one wanted to go with him. And he's like, "Please, I want my possessions." He was very torn up about it. Like it was sad, but it was also funny at the same time. So I couldn't help but give a chuckle. So that happened, I guess. So then I'm trying to think. Dang it, it's happening again. I'm losing my story. I'm mixing up my stories. So this has actually happened at a regular camp out, and I was in my sleeping bag, and I had it was sort of like a cold weekend, so I had this winter sleeping bag, and I was all nestled in it, and the way I like to sleep is I like to sleep face down with my head turned to the side with a little hole through my bed sheet so I like to cover myself with my bed sheets just laying face down with my head turned to the side and with a little hole in the sheet so I can breathe. And I do the exact same thing with my sleeping bag. So I like sleeping like that. Sue me. So my mouth and nose were sticking out of the sleeping bag so I could breathe. And this kid, like, he was the same kid that pigged out at lunch at that summer camp, and then we barely gave him any food. And he's a little special, but he's still nice. So one thing that I did is that he literally so I could literally see his head turn towards mine, then reach up with his hand, and then he like reaches up to my nose and goes, boop, and then I like rip off the sleeve knife, like, what was that for? And he just starts laughing, and then I couldn't help but start laughing myself. And then they found my phone, and I have a less than favorable video save. None of that stuff. No, none of that stuff. No adult 18 plus stuff. None of that. It's a video of this kid saying every curse word in the English language. So I step out my tent for a little bit, and this kid and the kid that was like sleeping in the tent was watching it. And also, I forgot to mention this, is that it was a really windy night, and this kid's tent actually collapsed. So he came to stay with us, and both of them were watching without my permission. Like, they literally pulled my phone out of my bag and literally started watching that video without my permission. And then I'm like, bro, shut that off. What if someone hears? And it's like, come on, they won't hear us. And they're correct. No one did hear us. But still, it was kind of risky. And then they learned actually a couple new words from that video. I'm not going to lie. I learned a couple too. So then and one of the words was Uncle 18 plus time. So then the kids knew that, and he couldn't get it out of his head. He told me that too. He couldn't get the word out of his head. So then one night I brought Cards Against Humanity here too, and we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and I can't remember what exactly brought it up. But this kid goes, maybe it's an Uncle 18 plus time, and with a parent right outside the tent, and the parent goes, really? I'm right here, you know. And then he's like, oh. So there's that. And also this kid, like, this kid, he does a lot of crazy stuff. I'm just going to say that because, like I said, he's a little special. So him and some people were playing football, and there's a disagreement. And then there's a bit of a disagreement, so then they start sort of fighting. And then this kid and this, like, other kid start fighting, and it ends with this other guy punching the pig out kid in the car. I'm just gonna call him that for actually pig kid's kind of like a not bad phrase. I'm just gonna call him. I'll call him E because that's an easy enough name to remember. So it ends with the kid he had the disagreement with punching E in the crotch, and then he literally screams, "You private part head!" Sorry, I don't like swearing on my channel. And then he literally starts gagging like he's gonna throw up. Like, that must have been quite the punch. But the thing that got him, he almost got kicked out of Scouts from what he did next, but he just got his knife card taken away. Which, let me explain something. For Scouts, you need to pass a safety course if you want to carry a knife in Scouts. I mean, why? You don't need a permit to carry a knife in the real world, yet you don't need any sort of safety course to do shooting sports in Scouts. Explain the logic on that. But anyway, he got his knife card revoked, because what did he do? Pull the knife on him? Did he pull a knife on him? Did he pull out his knife? And okay, so maybe thinking tons of possible ways that he could have got his knife permit revoked. No, he goes to the Scout trailer, pulls an axe, and literally starts threatening him with it. Like, I know this kid is special, but it boils down to common sense. Like, you don't threaten people with axes and expect nothing to happen. That was ridiculous. And also, that night at the camp out, his grandpa had to come get him for like a half-hour drive and then a half-hour drive back, so it kind of sucks for the grandpa, but, you don't just do that stuff and expect no consequences. But another thing that happened is that at that camp out, they were holding a movie that night, so they set up a projector and everything, and we were watching Indiana Jones, so that was pretty fun. But the thing that really sucked is that this kid, he was like, not very bright. He's kind of dumb. But what he was doing is that, if you don't know, like, the time Indiana Jones is set, Indiana Jones is set in like the 30s and 40s. So obviously there was like the Nazis like stealing treasures and stuff like that. So whenever the Nazi symbol appeared on a screen, the kid would throw up his right arm and do the salute to the German man with the funny mustache, if you know what I mean. So I even told him, if someone saw that, you would have been in massive trouble. And then it's like, oh, like, did you not know what that even meant? Did you not know what throwing up the right arm meant? The kid is not very smart. So this is probably one of my favorite Scout stories ever. Probably it's like, I think this is actually my favorite. And I did it too. So on the last night of Colorado, the counselors were hosting this like song thing. I think that's what it was, but and they were singing like after every verse they'd go, and then everyone in the crowd would go, then they'd go, oh yeah, and then everyone in the crowd would go, oh yeah. So then they finish a verse, and I had the idea that I'd make an obnoxious sound during oh yeah. So then they go, crowd goes, and the counselors go, oh yeah, and I literally scream, oh yeah, and then they literally like freeze, sort of look at me like that. And then they continue, and then the next verse came around, and they didn't say, oh yeah, they just went, crowd goes, and then they go, the crowd goes, so I like to think that I was the one that stopped them from saying, oh yeah, the next time. That could just be totally me. They could have been part of the song, but I like to think, because it just seemed too much of a coincidence if that wasn't the case. So that's probably one of my favorite ones yet, because it was just absolutely hilarious, because people around me started turning back and laughing, and the counselors literally froze and looked in my direction. They just had this like stare on their face, like they didn't know what to do. So that was funny. So another thing is that so the counselors are giving out leis to people. If you don't know what a lei is, it's like that Hawaiian flower necklace that you see. So this kid was asking people for their leis, and he's putting them all around his neck. Like he literally, it was just flower necklaces up to about here. Like I had the picture on my phone. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Don't mind my dinosaur phone. But I'll try and find the photo on here and see if you can see it. So it's somewhere around here. It's pretty far back because obviously I've taken more pictures since then. But here it is. I don't know if you're able to see it too well. But there we go. That's what that kid looked like. Crazy. So then another thing that happened is that, I don't know if I mentioned this before, sorry if I did, but the counselors were holding a treasure hunt. So I think it was a rock spray painted gold, and so they were hiding it. They placed it on top of this boulder, and then some wind came and blew it under. And I was searching with this kid, and then we were literally about to find it, and then this other guy comes along, looks under the rock, grabs it, and then just walks away. And then it's like, yeah, the kid I was looking with got a little pissed at that. Because, yeah, it's frustrating when you're just about to get it and then someone just snatches it right from under you. So, it was pretty frustrating, but that's just what happened. So, anyway, I don't know what else there is to tell. So, that was some real kickers there. So, anyway, I might make one more video after I get back from this camp because I hope to come back with a fresh batch of stories. So, anyway, that's all for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!